Morning, my name's Paul, obviously, you know that much about me. I've come here to talk to you about an approach to drug rehabilitation that I've come up with, kind of works. I've also come to tell you about my life, where I come from, how I got to be here, and hopefully you're going to take something, one of you will take something from this, and you think, geez, you know what, that guy might have been talking a little bit of sense. Right, so I am a drug addict, have been for 27 years. I am not an active drug addict, which is a huge difference. I am someone who decided to put my using to the side. However, when I first got into this situation, into this scenario that was addiction and active using, what call it whatever you will, I didn't look like this. You wouldn't have, you wouldn't even have seen me. You wouldn't even notice me in the street because I was the guy in the blanket at the cash point, in the bear pit in the tunnels. I was that guy, you know, begging you for money, asking you for change, can you help me? And it was all only for one thing, you know, to fund my drug addiction. You could have given me £100 when I was sat there thinking, go on, go get yourself a nice room for the night. It doesn't happen. Every penny we give to people on the streets who are in my situation will only go on funding their habit. One little tip I've got for you straight away. If you see guys in town, you see guys, women, ex-army, all of that, you see them and they're begging, do yourself a favour and do them a favour. If you want to help them, go to a shop, buy them something to eat, buy them some socks, some gloves, because everything else, I promise you, you're wasting your money putting it in. Someone's going to put it in a needle, someone's going to smoke it in a pipe, whatever it is, that's what happens. How did I get to be that guy from, I was just, you know, I grew up in Brangwyn Grove, top, you know, just off the square, and everything was set out for me to be alright. But unfortunately, I had really shit parents. They weren't addicts or anything, they never used to smoke, nothing like that. They were just bad people. Bad people with, you know, they shouldn't have really been bringing kids into the world. And I was like physically abused quite a lot, beat up, all that stuff. You know, it is what it is. It's been and it's gone. But because of that, I couldn't stay at home. I used to run away from home all the time. I ended up going to a residential school for children with behavioural difficulties, naughty boys school. That was what I had to do. And in there, 60 kids, all crazy, all ready to raise hell, all ready to go crazy, all ready to do anything. So it was just, for me, a residential school was the first start on my journey to becoming used to institutions and prisons, because it's exactly the same. You know, you have the staff there, you have people to keep an eye on you, but they're not really, you know, they're not directing you like you lot are all being directed today. You come in, you lot are getting proper direction in life. Back in the day, that wasn't really happening. So I went to school, it all started going crazy. I started dabbling, little bit of speed maybe on the weekend, do a little bit of puff, not a big thing, it's not a big thing. Everyone put in, buy a few pills. It's not a drama, man, that's just weekend drugs, that's just party drugs. It's not an issue. But then party drugs weren't enough for me, and I went from party drugs to serious class A drug addiction. You know, like I said, I was living on the street. I can tell you, this is a God's honest story. This happened to me. Tollgate car park, I don't even know if it's still here anymore. I haven't been to Bristol town in like 20 years. But there's a car park in town. I was homeless Christmas Eve. I had some candles. I lit some candles around me in a stairwell. I woke up, my blanket was on fire. I had no one else. If I didn't wake up, you know, I wouldn't be here now. But that's the madness of addiction. That's what using any form of drug right now in your early life. This is why I come here. I come here to speak to you. I'm not really interested in people my age who've been there and done it. I can't help them. I'm all about prevention, stopping you from doing stupid things. You know, it's easy. Have a go at your mum and your dad and all that. That's all calm. And then you get kicked out and you think, all right, I've got my mates to rely on me. My mates are going to look after me. Nah, doesn't work. So like I said, I went from, you know, school to the streets. So I was homeless. What was I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to stay on the streets? Nah, because I had a drug habit. Big man like me, I'm 6'4", 20 stone. It's easy, isn't it? I could just go up to anyone I wanted and just intimidate and take. And that's what I did. Some of my behaviours were disgusting, vile, nasty behaviours, but that's what happens when you start using drugs. That's what happens because all of the things that you've been taught, all of the way to respect people, to have empathy, that all goes flying out the window because all you're interested in is where that next fix is coming from. I went out and did some robberies when I was 17 after being put in a bail hostel for lesser crimes. I ended up going mixing with more criminals, and then it got real serious. I got a 3-year prison sentence. 21 months, I ain't bad. I was out 6 months, got 5 years, 3 months, out a couple of months, then I got 10.5 years. Now we're talking real time. 10.5 years. What's that half? No, it's not half, man. I did 8 years out of that. 8 years sat in a cell, watching the TV, with a blanket, like that, going mind-numbingly crazy because you've got nothing else to do. You're locked in a cell 23 hours a day. Now, a lot of people don't believe that when people say, oh, they're locked up 23 hours a day. Most establishments are. Like the one that you got up here at Hallfield, that is pure lockdown. You are in your cell all day, thinking over and over and over the stupid little things that you did that caused you to be in this situation. And it is so easy for that to happen. I cannot get it across enough. It's so easy for you to be coming here doing all what you're doing. You go, you get one person in your little group. That's all it takes, man. And before you know it, it's COVID, isn't it? One person gets it, and everyone seems to get it, and that's kind of what addiction's like. You let one person in, and you try to help that person because he's your brethren, isn't it? He's your friend. She's your spar. You try to help this person, but unfortunately, a lot of the time, an addict will drag you down. They'll manipulate you. Manipulation is a word, but it's not. It is not enough. I could charm anything out of anyone when I was full on in active addiction. You know what I mean? But thankfully, I don't use God. I'm not one of them guys who you get healthy and you get find recovery and all of a sudden you're praising God. I don't believe in that method, and I will get to that in a minute. But I don't believe in method of recovery. Now, I've done 8 years in prison, right? I have a 10.5 year sentence. Got to be fixed, man. Who isn't fixed after fucking 8 years? Excuse my language. After 8 years, who's not fixed? An idiot isn't fixed. That's who. I got out. I was like 18 months. 18 months, man. And then I got another one, and this one was it was a big sentence. 9.5 years. It seems smaller than my last one, but the sentence structure is different. So I ended up serving a lot of time in a cell on my own. What do I do? Because I'd had enough at that point. What do I do? The only thing I could do myself is improve myself. I sat in there. I did OU degree. I did every single course possible, any bit of funding I could find to do a course to better myself, and that's what I did. Because I had this image in my head of like coming home, proving to people that addicts can actually change and they can get better and they can actually be a part of society, like a genuine, like an improvement, help to improve the way we live. Because so many of us, I am like it myself sometimes. We walk through and we have opinions of people that it's just in us. We walk down the street, you see a man sat there like, and you just have this automatic opinion that guy's a waste man. Now let me tell you something. I don't know one addict who ever chose to become a drug addict. I don't know one. Yeah, we use, but back then we weren't thinking, well, if we just keep, we're using, we're going to have a problem. It's just like, like I said, that's why it's so important for you lot, because I know what Saturdays are like in Bristol. I know what Friday nights are like around here. You get bored and people then you start making stupid decisions. The cider thing, man. No one can tell me about the cider thing, man. I know, like, people start drinking, and that drink leads so quickly onto other things. And if you don't put a stop on it, you're going to end up spending 22 years in prison. 22. Anyone think that's right? I never killed anyone. I never did anything more than demand money. However, the way I did it and the effect it has on society, I had to be taken off the streets, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I'm getting to do this, not with just you lot. In Swindon, I get to do the same thing now. Do you know what I mean? This is a growing thing, and this is all about becoming non-active. Now, what is a non-active addict? Anyone got a clue? Anyone? No. No. Me neither for a long time. A non-active addict is someone who identifies that they have an issue. Now, I'm not just talking about drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, cars, supporting a football team that just breaks your heart every season. We all we all got addictions, and there is so many, but they can easily be stopped, and they can easily be sorted, and they can easily be cured as long as you do a few simple things. If you realise that you're doing too much of something, if you come across, you have this, it's a realisation, man. You could be smoking pot every day, and all of a sudden you wake up and you ain't got that pot in the morning, all the weed. So I was born in the 70s, so I do still use the word pot. But if you don't stop it, like I said, it could get out of hand. So what you have to do is this: identify your issues. Me, I can't smoke crack cocaine. I can't smoke heroin. If I did that, it'd be game over for me, right? But I know that. But I also know, if I go out with my missus on a Friday night, I can have a glass of wine or a pint of beer, you know. And there's a lot of recovery people who wouldn't agree with that terminology. But I'm of the opinion of, when you go on a diet, you don't stop eating all your food. You take away the foods that are the naughty ones, you take away the high fats, the sugars, all that. That's what I've done. I've taken away all the bad stuff in my life. Not just the drugs. It is not just the drugs, it's the negative thinking. It's allowing people to impact on the way I feel. Do you know when people say, oh, you're making me angry? No one can make you angry. Alright? Oh, you're doing my... No, if someone's doing your head, then you walk away. And that's what I've had to do. I've had to walk away from huge amounts of friends, genuine friends, who thought they were helping me, but what they were actually doing is just funding my habit for me. That's what happened. For a long time, I was what you would call lost. I like to say it's lost in addiction. But when you see other addicts, what I want you to understand is they can get better. A lot of people in recovery use the hashtag "we do recover" because it's plain and simple. Lots of people don't think, we've got mums, dads, aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters. They've all got issues. When you see your mum or your dad sat there on the phone constantly, you don't know how much money they're spending on these gambling sites. We don't know what's going on, and it's the thing. To help progress in addiction recovery, we need to be watching out, looking out for our friends, because that's really important. Because none of your girls are going to tell you if they're having struggles. None of them. They're not going to tell you anything. They're going to keep it to themselves because that's the way they think they got to do it. But you got to sometimes go, you know what, my girl, you've been losing a bit of weight, or you've been coming late to class a couple of times now. That ain't you. And once you identify those little things, you'll be able to help. You may prevent your friend from having a drug habit, having to commit crime. Things that, when you commit crime, it's not just you commit crime. I have to get that right in my head every day of my life. Every day of my life. For things that I did when I was 16, 17 years old, to this day, I've got to get it right and got to make it sit right in my head. That's why I don't ever ask anyone to feel sorry for addicts. Don't feel sorry, but just try to think, is there a way I can help this person without damaging myself and my own self-worth? because that's a really important message you need to understand. That addicts, like I said right at the beginning, they can drag you down, man. You know, you think they're putting a hand out, but they're not. They're putting a handcuff out. That's what they're actually doing. When you think you're helping them up, what they're doing, they're doing that, and that's you. That's you done, isn't it? Because you put all your efforts, everything, into helping someone that can't be helped unless they're ready to be helped. How did I get clean like this? It wasn't any programs that got me clean. It was I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I've got an amazing partner who basically said to me several years ago, it's like this: you can have me and the children, or you can have addiction, crime, prison, all of that. And it's like a light bulb went on in my head. I can't explain it to this day. I still don't know how to explain it properly, but I don't get craves. I don't. A lot of the things that other addicts explain to me a lot, um, I don't get. I don't know if that's because I don't associate around other addicts all the time. I do a lot of social media stuff. I'm all over social media. Hashtag the non-active approach. Any of your family, anyone, you can Google it. You see my ugly face there. I've got videos and YouTube and it's all of that in it. It's all of that stuff on the phone. We've got that sorted. If honestly, I'm going to finish with this because this is so bloody important. If you know anyone, and I don't give a damn if I'm cool or big or safe or sick, whatever, I don't care. If you know anyone who's struggling, trust me, you need to help them. Because if you don't help them and you let them carry on, a lifetime of sitting in a cell, man, 23 hours a day watching fucking Home Under the Hammer, and just it's not normal behaviour. You rot away because you don't do anything. You stagnate, and you don't grow up either. That's another thing in there. You stay the stupid idiots, and it takes a lot to get out of that. And I'd hate to see. Look at you look all you're going places in life, isn't it? And then you ain't only planning just to sit here and do nothing. You want to go places in life, and to go places in life, you've got to be part of a community, man. You've got to look after people who can't look after themselves. You know, mental health and addiction go like that, like that. I've got, personally me, I am diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, social anxiety disorder, and PTSD, right? But I come out here and do this every day because if I don't do it and someone falls through the net, me, myself, I'm not happy with that. I will never be happy with just sitting back because for so many years, the help that I needed, it wasn't there. But I've identified these things now, so I'm quite good at catching people. I've got a lot of people on social media who I speak to every day, and they're really struggling. And it's not just staying clean or not gambling; it is literally their head will not turn off because of the guilt and the anguish and the behaviours they've had to display and the way they've had to treat people, all due to drug addiction. I've got to say this one thing: if you know anyone, tell them to get non-active, use the non-active approach, and promise you, their life will be so much easier because drugs, alcohol, and addiction will just ruin and destroy your life. Like today, you've been quite lucky. I've got a long sleeve top on. My arms are cut to buggery. My legs are cut to buggery from stuff that I couldn't deal with normal life, and it was my only outlet. I never went to see anyone, but no one really come to see me either, if you know what I mean. Like, I wasn't quiet about my behaviours, but sometimes people just don't know how to ask for help. So I say, if you see anyone struggling, drugs, addiction, mental health, the one and only thing you should be doing is going asking them if they need help or send them in a direction of someone like me. Alright? I hope you've learned a little something. I hope, I haven't been too chaotic in my scattergun approach to telling you my story, but there it is. Thank you very much for listening.